10. Who benefited the most from the old gentleman's will? A. Mr. Henry Dashwood. B. Mr. Henry Dashwood's son. C. Mr. Henry Dashwood's grandson. D. Mr. Henry Dashwood's wife. E. Mr. Henry Dashwood's daughters. The answer to this question can be found in lines 23 onwards. We're told the old gentleman died, his will was read, and, like almost every other will, gave as much disappointment as pleasure. He was neither so unjust nor so ungrateful as to leave his estate for his nephew, but he left it to him on such terms as destroyed half the value of the bequest. Mr. Dashwood had wished for it more for the sake of his wife and daughters than for himself or his son, but to his son and his son's son, a child of 4 years old, it was secured, in such a way as to leave himself no power of providing for those who were most dear to him, and who most needed a provision by any charge on the estate, or by any sale of its valuable woods. Here, then, we're told that the estate only benefits Mr. Dashwood through his son and through his son's son. Then later we're told that the whole was tied up for the benefit of this child, who, in occasional visits with his father and mother at Norland, had so far gained on the affections of his uncle by such attractions as are by no means unusual in children of 2 or 3 years old, an imperfect articulation, an earnest desire of having his own way, many cunning tricks, and a great deal of noise, as to outweigh all the value of all the attention which, for years, he had received from his niece and her daughters. This means that the child, Mr. Henry Dashwood's grandson, so charmed his uncle that he inherited the estate from him. The misleading part of the text here is when we are talking about the child's uncle. In actual fact, Mr. Henry Dashwood's uncle would be the great-uncle of the child in question. This is quite confusing and may need 1 or 2 re-readings before it makes sense. However, the answer to this question is option C. Mr. Henry Dashwood's grandson is the main beneficiary of the old gentleman's will. And you may mark your answer of C on the answer paper like this.